Everybody else. Thanks for having me. My name is Lee, and I've been with. Our name is still kind of Gentle Transitions. I don't need to bore you with that too much, but I've been with Gentle Transitions for just 3 weeks shy of 8 years.
Nice.
I've done a number of presentations over the years. A lot of the times I am talking to people in senior communities. A lot of senior communities will ask us to come in and speak to their current or future residents to get them ready to move. So that's our typical audience. And I hope, so I took what I usually talk about it and did my best to tweak it to this audience, not entirely sure what to expect. So I hope that you get you see some value in what I'm going to talk about here. I will say that we encounter hoarders quite a bit, but we're not a hoarding resource per se. In fact, if we encounter a true hoarding situation, we've sent a lot of people your direction. Really what we well, I'll get into it, but our specialty is more in the sorting and downsizing, getting people ready to move. So I will do my best to gear the message towards this topic and audience. And thanks everybody for being here. And thanks for the invite. So why are we here? And I was taking a best guess. Again, not entirely sure who would be on the meeting, but in general, what we tend to encounter in my world is the stress, the emotions, the guilt involved with sorting, downsizing, moving, decluttering. The thought, not to mention the act of downsizing and decluttering, is very, 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 very stressful. It's right up there with death, divorce, and all the other stressful things. So it's a very stressful thought. It's stressful on the individual, their family, their support system. So as I go through some of the tips and tricks that we use in our line of work, it's easy for me to just start throwing out tips and advice, but just know that we recognize that there's a lot of guilt with getting rid of excess items. Most of the people we work with are downsizing and going to a smaller place, and so there's a lot of guilt. So I would start with if you're in that boat, or if loved one, April and Mark, if your loved ones are in this boat, give yourself permission, and it's okay to let go of some things, knowing that they will probably, depending on where you take them, they will probably end up in the hands of somebody who can use them and they can have the next generation of life in those items. So we recognize that there's a lot that goes into this, and that's a lot of what we do. We're not social workers, but we're working with families who are in tough situations, and we do a lot of they're there. So we know it's very, very difficult. I'll talk to you a little bit more about who our employees are. We've worked with thousands of people. We work with about 1,500 clients or couples a year. And we've been around, like Jennifer said, since 1990. So we've got 35 years of experience to draw from, and I'll distill that down into a few minutes here. Going to share some tricks of the trade, how we work with our clients. By the way, this is not a commercial for our company. If you need our help, great, you can call us, but really I'm here to give information. So I'm going to talk about our company because that's where I work, but this is not to sell you on our services. It's just to give you some information. And spreading awareness. A lot of people don't realize that our kind of help, or Hoarding Task Force kind of help, is even available. So we're really big on spreading awareness and letting families know that there is help out there that they might not even be aware of. Oh, yes, please interject.
We are having some technical difficulties. For those online, it's not moving forward for them.
Oh, the slides aren't?
Yep. So I wonder if we can just hit the stop sharing for a second.
Oh, is that?
Yep.
Hey.
So really sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's okay.
Just want them to be able to see. And then hit escape.
Oh, so we can get out
there
of this.
You go.
And then
now. Yep.
Passing the literal.
What if you hit play? Let's try share one more time. we want to share the window. Share the window. Okay, so now I can tell that you're on the right screen. So this is the one that you just switched to, and it is showing online. Let me try, see what happens when we go back to.
And if we have to start from the beginning, that's all right.
The issue was when I went for share, when I had the side slides off. So maybe
Okay.
if you're okay leaving them up,
Sure.
because it does share your notes.
Sure.
Oh,
Which you can, maybe I can minimize that. Some of these I copied and pasted, so these might not burden it.
Maybe I'll go up to
Go.
slideshow.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, over one, almost there. Keep
Uh,
going to your right.
Slideshow, I know what
Yeah.
you mean. Then here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me know how it looks on. Do you have the screen up?
I do.
Does it look okay?
Yep.
No advance. Let's see if it
Different
goes.
than that.
Oh,
Let's
yeah,
see.
it's still kept the little slides there.
So it's still not. Well, here, I can do it this way.
Hold on. Nope, we're back.
You
now.
just need
we're
to go to present.
Oh,
There should be like start slideshow or present.
Yeah, which was right.
It was up higher.
Up a little bit. So you draw, design, transit. and then-
Yep, it's slideshow
Yeah,
and then
slideshow and
from
then,
beginning.
From
Or
beginning?
from current slide.
okay.
There you
Wish
go.
I went back to the beginning just in case.
Is it moving?
To show it,
Not yet.
maybe there's just a delay.
Yeah, I was.
If I need to do that other view, that's fine.
Yeah,
by
you
me.
might have to do the other view.
Because that shows.
Oh, one showed up now.
Okay.
Now
Okay.
maybe we're okay.
Won't have the cool little advanced clicks, but that's okay.
Oh, so sorry to interrupt you.
No, don't be. To do something like this without a technical glitch would be weird.
Even know how to.
I've had screens shut down completely in the middle of these things, so this is great. At least we still have a screen. Okay, so some people in the audience or loved ones or people in your circle might share some of these goals. These are common threads that we run into in our line of work. Speaking of backing up slides, let me back up for a second. Let me hit the pause button. Our company, because I think I took this slide out, and if I didn't, I'll skip over it when I get to it, but we're what's called a senior move management company. So really where we specialize is we always do an in-home consultation, and I'll pause right there as well. If we run into a true hoarding situation, we try to stay in our lane. And that's where I alluded to a minute ago. We would say, before you employ our kind of help, we need to get you a different kind of help, because we can go in and help sort, downsize, work with a client side by side, one-on-one. But if we're going to spend their time and money on our services and we go out back in a week and they've just reaccumulated, then we don't want to waste their time and resources. So that's when we are very grateful for your type of help, because then we say, let's get somebody like Hoarding Task Force involved or something like that, and then we can continue to work with you. So I just want to make that little asterisk statement that we know enough to stay in our lane and know when to bring in other resources, the true experts. Okay. So you might share some of these goals. Some people are just needing to open up space, even if we're working with somebody who's not moving. Maybe somebody who's got that house that when someone moves away or passes away, you get all this stuff, and all of a sudden you've got a house full of things that aren't even yours. So you might just be wanting to open up space and get some elbow room. We work with a lot of people who they said when my parents passed away, it was a huge strain on the family. They had a house full of things and a barn full of things, and it was just a lot for the family. I don't want to do that to the next generation. I want to remove the burden for my family members. So I want to do this so that I'm not leaving this for my surviving family. We do work with a lot of people, like I said, who are moving into senior living, assisted living, memory care situations sometimes, and we really encourage people, I think I took this quote out of here when I was whittling this down, but we really encourage the quote just being better a day early than a year late, whatever the quote is. Really, we're encouraging people to get the process started now, as emotional, as overwhelming as it can be. If you can start this process while you're still the boss of you, as my 12-year-old might say, it's a much more positive experience, because if there's an unexpected health event, all of a sudden the power to make decisions is taken away from you, and it can be really heartbreaking to watch. We've met with families where mom and dad are over here and the kids are over here calling all the shots, while mom and dad are sitting there silently wishing they had done this a few years ago. So it's never too soon to start this, and it takes a long time, especially if there is a hoarding situation. It can take a really, really long time. So if you start sooner than later, a lot of people just assume my kids are coming into town for the weekend. April and Mark are coming. We're going to knock this out over the weekend. And then you forget how far back those closets go. There's stuff under the bed. There's stuff shoved into the guest room closet. And you realize this is going to take a lot longer than we thought. Not to mention, there's going to be emotions involved. So that can slow you way down too. So just, that's where our services can be good, or some kind of outside the family voice. Because if I could give you the exact same advice your kids are giving to you, but you'll listen to me and not your kids, because that's just how it is. I used to be a personal trainer, and I gave my wife all these nutrition and exercise tips, and she was like, "Hey, you're crazy." And then she met with a trainer once and said, "You'll never believe what this guy just taught me." And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds familiar." So it's good just to have that outside voice or resource sometimes. All right,
Happens with kids too.
what's that?
That'll happen with kids.
Yes, it will. Kids, you don't need to tell them anything. They know everything. They'll be fine. Also, saving money. We work with people who say they don't want to downsize. Again, we realize it can be very, very emotional. And they say, let's just put it all in storage. And that's a really good way to spend a lot of unnecessary money. Anytime I drive by a public storage place, I just kind of shudder, because I know it's full of stuff and locks that no one knows the combination to, and just so we call storage the black hole. Not that there's anything wrong with having some storage, like seasonal decorations, that kind of thing, but my sister-in-law, for example, spent who knows how much money over the years having 4 full storage units, because she didn't want to get rid of furniture, because it was nice stuff, and she could have bought it several times over had she not spent all that money on storage. All right, I'll get off of that soapbox. I am trying to help. It's a helpful soapbox. Okay, I want to mention that if you decide to work with our team, and I would venture to say this is very similar with your organization and the like. You are working with very, very good people. Our employees, this is some of our team. Our employees come to us and say, I'm in my retirement years. You helped my parents or my neighbors, and I've seen what you do, and I want to do something part-time and meaningful. So they are really, really big-hearted people. They are patient and compassionate. There's a great degree of empathy. So they're just really, really good people. We've got retired teachers, executives, maintenance directors, you name it. But we don't have a lot of retired social workers, which is why I say we leave that to the experts when we're talking about true hoarding disorder and the like. But for the stuff that we do, our team is just the most amazing group of people you've ever met. And a lot of people ask me, why aren't there any guys on your team? There he is right there. Here's your one. There's David. Okay. So I wanted to bring this up. We get calls a lot of the time it's usually the adult children of potential clients. And they say, I want you to come meet with me and my folks, but I'm just going to warn you, my parents are hoarders. And then we get there and we go, oh, this isn't hoarding. They just haven't thrown anything out in a few decades. So there's hoarding, and then there's just people with a lot of stuff. So we wanted to define that. So did a little research on this, and of course you would know this very well, but a hoarder, a few ways to define this is someone who is acquiring more items than necessary or that can be used. So I think acquiring there is key. My mother-in-law doesn't throw anything out, but she's also not actively going out and getting stuff. She just doesn't get rid of anything. So I think acquiring is
And
the key
technically
word.
acquisition isn't, it can be part of the cycle,
Sure,
or
sure.
it might be passive acquisition, like that mail comes in and you don't let it go.
That's right.
So it isn't it's a feature that can be or may not be present.
Yes, and thank you for that. And please correct me because
No.
I'm not the expert on some of this.
Yeah, you're right.
Good. But that's just what stuck out in my mind as far as like we've got clients who just can't stop shopping on Amazon
I get
or
it.
what have you.
Yeah.
And we've cleared out. It can also be easy to think of hoarding as dilapidated home and whatever the preconceived notion might be. What I've walked into from the outside, beautiful big homes. You walk inside and go, oh goodness, this is not what I was expecting to see from the street. But they might have piles and piles, rooms of clothing with tags still on them, that kind of thing. So that's a little bit different than you just haven't thrown out your shirts from high school. Intense distress or anxiety associated with discarding items. So yes, it's hard to get rid of things and there's some guilt associated with it. But what stuck out of my mind here is that intense distress, what can affect your breathing. You're starting to sweat. Maybe you've got some other examples, but when it's an intense distress, that's what clarify or can delineate. And then interference with daily activities, relationships. I'm sure you've seen homes that were there were a hoarder situation where you could barely open doors or there was barely a path to walk. So that's interference with daily activities and work and living space. Clutter doesn't impede the living areas of the home. It's just a lot of stuff. Could be disorganized and may accumulate around moving areas. We see this a lot where it's the recliner, the table in between them, and it's just overflowing with magazines and batteries and that kind of thing. Collections. Now, we've seen I always have to put Hummels up there because we see a lot of that kind of collection. So if you've got a collection, that's not necessarily hoarding. You just like to collect shot glasses. My mom used to collect shot glasses and she doesn't drink. She got rid of that collection. And then it might just be due to their generation or values. The World War II generation comes to mind. They were just brought up thinking you don't get rid of things that might come useful someday. I looked up a couple of pictures just to help define. So on the left, this is more on the hoarding definition, where you can see that these are Google images. These are not our clients, anything like that, just so you know. But she cannot move around that kitchen very well, I'm guessing. And there's true, it's a messier situation. On the right, let's call them the World War II or the silent generation. It's a room full of stuff, but that's not clutter. And that's what I'm talking about, where I've had clients' kids tell me, careful, mom and dad are hoarders. And I walk in and see that and I go, no, this is fine. This isn't hoarding. This is just, so we really like to make sure that people are careful with how they're defining
And it's on
a
a
hoarder.
spectrum.
Yeah,
It's on a
sure.
spectrum, and I don't think there's anybody in this room that can diagnose. We're not qualified for that. So,
Yeah.
and we're really looking for solutions,
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
So,
Right.
absolutely.
Yep. Good.
I guess my parents.
Which one?
The second one,
And
Yeah.
the walls were just
Yeah.
covered.
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We hang pictures for our clients, and it's fun. It kind of pulls it all together. But there are times where we go, there is a wall back there, right? That's so good. They like their
I-
memories.
And everybody has different tastes about how much stuff they want.
That's right. Exactly. Okay. So now I'm going to dive more into kind of my area of expertise, but is there any other comments or questions on the hoarding piece? Because now I'm going to start to veer away from that a little bit. We're good so far? Okay. When we're working with our clients, and we're helping them declutter, we don't just walk into their home and just start throwing stuff out. I showed you the picture of the people I work with. I told you they're kind, compassionate people. That's not how we work. So when we're working with somebody, and like I said in the beginning, my hope is that you can take this information and apply it to your situation. So think about whether it's you or a loved one or somebody that you're supporting. who's having a hard time getting started with this, you can really start with a conversation. Get them thinking about day-to-day living. Do you need all of your seasonal holiday decorations? I was just in a home this morning where they're not quite sure what to do with all the Halloween stuff that's still out. So do you need all of your seasonal holiday decorations if you're moving or planning to move to a smaller setting? Chances are there's some good opportunity for some downsizing around holiday decorations. If you're are you gonna continue to do your own maintenance? Are you gonna bring somebody in? Do you have a handy person, something like that? I put the picture of the tools up there because if maintenance isn't something that you're going to continue to do as you age, a tool collection like that might be a great opportunity for some downsizing. Will you be doing your own cleaning? And even if so, this is where I always crack the joke, no more trips to Costco. Let's start to take your those cleaning supplies and really start to pare them down so they can fit potentially into just one single sink instead of several. So if you're not going to be, even if you're going to be doing your own cleaning, there's a good chance you've got multiple bottles of Windex and Pledge and that kind of thing. Will you continue to cook or entertain? The kitchen's one of our favorite places to go because there's a lot of opportunity there. If we're moving to somebody and they say, I got to bring that bread maker, and they say, oh, you like to make bread? And she goes, well, I haven't in 20 years, but I'm going to start making bread again. So that's why we really just want you to start thinking through what is day-to-day life truly going to be like so that you're holding on to the things that you still use and love. But if there's something that's just taking up space, then it might be time to give it to the next person who can use it.
Would you mind if I said something quick?
Sure, please.
Which is about Costco.
Yeah.
American Bulk, I think it's the name of the book.
Oh, the book,
She
yeah.
grew up going to her parents.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
It's a book called American Bulk. Okay,
Interesting.
I'm gonna look into that and maybe we'll put it on our book recommendations.
Great, good.
Thank you.
Every time I do something like this, I learn one new thing at least. Thank you for that.
I would have waited till the end of my thing.
That's okay. That's
okay.
okay. Thank you. Thank you for that. As I said in the beginning, this is all a very, very overwhelming thought. No, really, no matter who you are, what your situation is, but especially in excessive clutter type situations, it can be very, very daunting and overwhelming. Your plan might be to, let's say you feel you're going to start downsizing, decluttering. You go down to the basement. You say, I'm going to downsize my basement. I'm going to work on my basement. You open the door. You look around. Your eyes bug out of your head. You shut the door. You go back upstairs and keep watching TV. So really what I want to do with this slide is spur you into action. This is where you start to take action, build momentum, see results. And when you start to see results, it really can, you get this boost and you want to keep going. So this is really about building momentum and seeing progress that you want to keep going. So the first phase, we always work in phases with our clients. So go through the home and just remove things that you know can go. You don't have any emotional attachment to them. You've been looking for an excuse to start to downsize some of these items. You can go through the home and just get rid of things that you really don't have any sentimental value or use. That's a great way to start. Then the next phase, instead of downsizing the basement, pick a small area of the basement. Maybe it's the closet in the guest room or something like that. I put here linen closet. We love starting in linen closets because it's usually pretty small. And things in a linen closet typically aren't as sentimental as, say, a china hutch or a photo album. Don't ever start with photos. You'll get nowhere. Photos are something to do down the line. That's what we say. When you're on a roll and you've gotten a lot of other stuff done, then you can go through photo albums, because you can imagine that you pick up a photo and stare at it for 10 minutes, and after a couple hours, you haven't gotten very far. So linen closets are a great place to start. It's a lot easier to get rid of extra towels and expired Tylenol than it is some of the more sentimental things. And then keep up the momentum. Now that you have been at this a while and you've downsized a couple of small areas, you're going to uncover some layers, and you can go through the home again and do a second or third first pass. Not only are you going to find things that you forgot were back there, but now that you've got some momentum, you might, the first time around, you might have said, I'm not so sure if I want to get rid of this. And then the second time around, you go, okay, it's time. I'm on a roll. So you keep cycling through those, and it might take days, weeks, months, years, depending on the situation. But if you can continue to work in those phases, it can really, we see it all the time, you can really see some tangible progress, which feels good. And this can actually become, believe it or not, a little enjoyable and cathartic. At first, what feels so daunting, take before and after pictures. I should put that up there. But when you can see evidence of your hard work, it feels really, really good and rewarding. I will get this to you to send out to the audience here. I don't think I did the screenshot. You're not gonna be able to see it very well from here, but this is a downsizing calendar. This is in the spirit of yard by yard is hard, but inch by inch is a cinch. What this is doing, even if you can't see this, and I couldn't get it to you, but I will, take a calendar, whether you're breaking it up by week or month, and take your massive to-do list and break it up into months or weekends or whatever works best for you. So some examples here are in January. By the way, you don't have to stick to the months. You don't have to wait till next year to do this, but linens, 2 sets per bedroom, 2 sets per bathroom. Consider donating extra to animal shelters, things like that. So you can really take that big list and break it down into smaller bites. So I'll make sure that you have an electronic copy that you can send out to people. Great tool. Our clients love it. All right. Now we'll talk about the sorting process. I brought, someone fell out in my car, but you can go out and get these different colored garage sale dots, I call them. You go to a dollar store and you can get dots like this, different colors. You can also use different colored sticky notes. It doesn't matter, but you want to have some way to start to label and get organized as you go. It's also a great way to see progress as you start to label things. So what we do in general, now you might have, this is 3 categories. You might come up with 15 categories. They might be family members, friends, different donation spots, whatever. But as long as you've got some kind of a system. So in general, we use these red dots for things that we know are basically trash, going away. Yellow dots, you could use those for things that you don't want to keep, but you don't want to just throw in the garbage. So if you're trying to donate, sell, consign, give to friends, family, that kind of thing, you could put a yellow sticker on it. And then green, this is more, we can call it bring it if you're moving, or keep it if you're not moving. But green stickers are for things that you want to hold on to. Then go out and get yourself some boxes and bags so that as you're going, you've got a place to put things. That might sound really obvious, but if you're just moving the pile from here to there, then it feels like progress, but it's really not. So you want to be able to have a place to put things. In the case of a box, when it's full, shut the box, tape it shut, and put it in your car, or somehow get it out of there. Even if it's like the box in my car right now, that's going to be with you for 6 months before you get to Goodwill, at least it's out of your house. So out of sight, out of mind. We used to use transparent plastic bags for some of the sorting. Then we switched over to black plastic bags that you can't see through or see into. Any guesses as to why?
Churning.
Yeah, churning. That's a great term. Yes.
Second guessing.
That's right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's the same concept. It was an open box. It's so easy to reach in and go, I think I'll hold on to this. The next thing you know, that box or bag is empty. So there's a lot of psychology that goes into this, obviously. And one of those things is out of sight, out of mind. Get a bag or a box that you can't see into, and then get it out of there. What might feel hard to get rid of at the time, 6 months later, you're going to forget you even owned it because you forgot it was there in the first case. We see that a lot with stuff in desk drawers or file cabinets. You go, I need to hold on to all these office supplies. And then you shut the drawer and forget it was even there. How am I on time, by the way?
You're doing great.
Okay. Got it. Now, some examples of green, things that you want to hold on to. So what are your treasures? If it's truly meaningful and sentimental, hold on to it. If you would hand it down to the generations, wedding gift, whatever, if it's sentimental, put a green sticker on it. Another dialogue we have with our clients sometimes is, if we had to get you out of here in 10 minutes, who knows why, but what would you absolutely have to bring with you? Medications, insert joke about spouse here, whatever. If you have to bring it with you, I had fun in these some of these consultations. I'll put a sticker on the husband, and everyone just hit it the whole time. But if you had to leave your home quickly, what are the things you have to have? Where do you spend most of your time? We call it the nest. I'll go back to the example of the two recliners with the table in between them, the ottoman, the TV. If that's where you spend most of your time, then let's hold on to whether it's move or keep of that area, because it's important to you. This is more for people moving, but at this point I've usually done some floor plan stuff, but we'll kind of skip over that for today. But if you're moving and floor planning, you just want to make sure that the things that you're holding on to are things that are going to fit in your future home. If you want me to talk more about moving, I can. I kind of edited a lot of that out for this, but if anyone's got questions on moving, I can pause a little bit for that. Things that might get a yellow sticker: charitable organizations, antiques, estate sales, friends, family, neighbors, that kind of thing. So a quick word on family. If you are offering up things to friends and family where you're saying come and go through the stuff and come get it, it's a good idea to give them a deadline, whether that deadline is real or imaginary. They will not share your sense of urgency. So you can say, you've got till, what month is this? You've got till April 30th to come grab anything with a yellow sticker on it is fair game. But after April 30th, it's getting donated. Give them a deadline and they will actually make the time to do it. Now, if they're out of state or what have you, there's exceptions. But for the local folks, get them going. Okay. I'm guessing a lot of people in this room are familiar with bridging.
They spoke last fall, but you never know who's in the audience.
Okay, and you're shaking your head. Okay, good. They are. This is not a commercial for bridging, and I don't work for them. However, we've worked with them pretty much since their inception. I'll give you a little summary. So they are. They collect things from hotels, donate stuff to them. The movers that we work with are taking clients' things to them all the time. They are working with people who might be coming out of an abusive relationship, or maybe their home burned down, or they're coming out of homelessness. They're coming out of a bad situation, and maybe they've got a place to live now. They've worked with the social worker or the county, and they've got a place to live, Habitat for Humanity, something like that, but they don't have any stuff. So then they work through a social worker. They set an appointment to go to bridging, who now have 3 locations. There's Plymouth, Roseville, and Bloomington. And they call it that you go shopping there. So you're there with a representative from bridging. You're there with your family, whomever, and you're walking around and you're picking out a sofa, a coffee table, kitchenware, towels. They even people donate arts. You can even get art for your walls. So they are big on not just giving people stuff, but setting them up with dignity. I think somebody used the word dignity earlier. They're really big on that. So it's a truly meaningful experience where you go through and you feel good that you've got things. And bridging, like a lot of places, is somewhat picky about what they take, because they want to set people up with dignity. They don't want to give them a ratty old mattress and a broken down bookshelf, whatever. So, but they're a great organization and lead from the heart. We love these guys. This is another thing. I can either send this to you or I'll show you how to get to this donation resource.
We have it
list.
on our,
Do you?
We do have it on our website.
Oh,
Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep.
And there's stuff on the back table for anybody who wants this. You can also go to their website to donate this. This won't apply as much in Duluth. I'm sorry. This is more for the Twin Cities, but really what it is, it's a list of, bridging cares so much about items, things, belongings going to people who need them and will love them, that they also on their website they keep a list of what other organizations accept. So there's a list of organizations here, and then there's columns, for example, I won't read them all, but Do they pick up? Do they take appliances? Do they take books? That's the kind of things that they accept. So this is a great resource. We're lucky in this area to have something like this. So I'm glad you have it on your website.
Yep.
That's
We'll
awesome.
do it on our website.
Love it, love it, love it. It's updated every few months. So if you haven't checked in a while, it might be slightly different. Okay, reds are pretty simple here. If it's going away, if it's garbage, you put a red sticker on it. Another trick of the trade is you don't need to put, let's say you want to keep all your coffee mug collections. You don't have to put a sticker on every single coffee mug. What you can do is open up a kitchen cabinet, take everything out, and then you can put everything you want to keep on one shelf, things you're going to give to family here, and things you want to get rid of up here if you're not already putting them in a box. And then you can just put a green sticker on that one shelf so you're not living amongst thousands and thousands of stickers. Same with red. Sometimes we'll put a red sticky note in the corner of a basement and we'll just shove all the garbage over there until we get the dumpster rented, something like that. So you can label areas as well as items. This I left in just in case anybody had any questions about hiring a moving company. No? Okay. If anyone in this room or on this call is in the process or thinking about moving and you need a mover recommendation, feel free to call us. We've got relationships with quite a few movers, and we know we can get you to a good one because there are some bad ones out there. Not always intentionally, but some of them just aren't. Great. This I'm going to skip over because this is usually for people in the room. Although for those of you in the room, if you do want to meet with one of our people to do a consultation, let me know and we can set up an appointment. That's up to you. No pressure whatsoever. So that is what I have for you. That's the end, as they say. So any questions or comments, additions, anything you want to add or
Question.
Yeah, please.
For those who have items set aside for consignment, do you have a list of consignment companies that we could provide to residents?
Excuse me. I need that water in a second. We've got, over the last 35 years, we've accumulated, we call it our resource guide. Our move managers, that's that picture right there. Our move managers, when they're working with a client and that client needs something that we don't do, we open up that resource guide to things like moving companies, hoarding resources, and consignment shops, that kind of thing. So I can email that to you to do with it what you will. So yes, I can get that for you. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
love to. If after I leave, if you have questions about other resources, let me know and I can cut and paste into an email for you.
Yep.
Is that ever something you'd share with the hoarding task force?
I could. Now there's a lot of stuff in there. Maybe I send you a lot of it.
We could edit it.
You can edit it down because it's like 100 pages or something like that. A lot of
I think that would be really useful.
I do.
I mean, I know a lot of them. I could help with co-author, but
right.
but that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we just made a new idea.
Yeah.
Of a guide that's needed. Like Play It Against Sports.
Right.
They only want things that are very timely, right? So
Right.
I had somebody that needed to sell a bike rack last year. They said, don't try to sell it to us in the fall, but if you come back in
That's
the
right.
spring, we'll probably take it. They looked it up, they took it,
That's right.
bingo.
It's the same thing with, I almost mentioned this earlier and I didn't, but I will now. Same thing with donating seasonal decorations.
Yeah.
You need to donate them right around that season.
Right before I go.
That's right. Because these places don't have infinite shelf and warehouse space. One thing I edited out of here, but when you're calling around to donation sites, consignment, what have you, you want to ask them, what are they currently accepting? It's a good idea to go to their website, of course, but their answer on what they're accepting, we really learned this lesson during COVID when nothing was moving off of any shelves, but we still in the habit of asking, what are you currently accepting? If you've ever tried to drop something off at Bridging or Goodwill or whatever, the answer might change day to day based on their space or their needs. So it's a good idea to, if you're going to drop things off for consignment or donation, just a quick phone call to see what they're currently accepting. If you have a notion that you might want to do an estate sale, that's another call to make far in advance, because the different estate sale companies, they keep a different percentage. Some set up and tear down, others leave that up to you. So they just they have different business models, but almost all of them book up months and months in advance. Yet another reason to get on the ball sooner than later, because some of these places can book out far in advance.
Mark has a question.
Yes.
Online.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
I was hoping I could maybe share a couple things and get some perspective. And certainly if there's, if this is a bigger conversation, we could always talk offline. But so as April and I were saying, my mom's just about 83. She's living in the original house we all grew up in. My dad passed away in 2001, so she's been by herself. So it's a big house in Roseville. And she was a teacher, so she kept everything. She, kept things for projects. She's very attached to that kind of connection, I guess. And she's also an environmentalist. She doesn't want to throw things out. She wants to reuse things, which all very noble things. But her identity is very tied up in having these things. And she said recently, when she was getting a little emotional, if this is like most of this goes away, like what value am I? And I know this is a big issue, but as my sister and I, it's great to see your presentation, because we've done a lot of these things, and we've also sought to get help, but my mom would not allow us to bring somebody in to work with her to kind of keep the momentum going. So we're thinking of talking to her at our next check-in and kind of reiterating that there's only so many hours in a day, there's only so much time we can help, and it's getting more and more challenging. She's fallen a number of times. She can't maintain things. And so I guess I'm just curious, when you're dealing with somebody who has some depression and anxiety, huge attachment to things, and every part of the conversation, like if you and I were moving and we had a box of newspapers, we might look at it for 2 seconds and then recycle them, or we might pull a couple things out because they were famous headlines we wanted to keep and then recycle the rest. For her, it can be an hour-long activity just to go through. And so with that kind of background in mind, I'm just trying to see if there's thoughts about how we approach this from a kind of a psychological angle and push the issue, because we are getting to the point where we're thinking we need to just rent space and really just start moving things out, even if it's like a questionable item, like I might need that, just because if we don't do that, we're never going to make any progress. And maybe that just means more money spent now, but we move things out and she can eventually get the house where it could be sold, and then she moves into her next home, and we've talked about a lot of options over that. So with that background, any thoughts or advice for how we approach this situation?
Anybody want to go? I've got a couple.
So what do you have?
Again, keeping in mind that we're not the social workers, and my company is not, but just from a practical standpoint. Now, earlier, when I talked about storage units and kind of ripped on them a little bit, and their waste of money, they can actually be, in a case like your mom, they can be a good, buffer, so that you can say, Mom, we're not getting rid of these things. We're just removing them from your house to get them out of your way, but we're not throwing them out. They're in a storage unit. You can go visit those, read those newspapers anytime you want.
Exactly.
Most likely, but that can be a worthy investment to say, we're not getting rid of it. It's down the street if you want to look at it or use it or what have you. So that can be, in those cases, we do actually encourage storage if it's going to help with emotion and guilt and family dynamics and making sure everyone's still in speaking terms and being safe. Yeah, that's being safe is a big one. I didn't bring the floor planning part of this, but when we're floor planning with somebody measuring furniture, we always say we need to make sure there's 3 feet of space between for walkways, for walkers, wheelchairs, now or in the future, or just people coming over or you being able to walk through your home. But safety's a big one, Tripping over stuff that's on the floor, that's a really big one.
Well, thanks for your question. I think we're going to go ahead and stop the recording now. And we'll continue with questions. Thank you.